I will call this meeting to order of the Southwest Licking Local Board of Education. I'd like to recognize all of our visitors here on this nice cold day and our visitors at home, and if we all could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is
Thank you. Mr. Jones, will you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Engel.
here.
Mrs. Moore.
Here.
Mrs. Spindler. Mr. Ziny. Mr. Vincent.
Here, we have a quorum. We will continue public participation. There is none. Move on to adoption of the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda is presented.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Jones.
Mrs. Engel.
Yes.
Mrs. Moore.
Yes.
Mr. Ziny.
Here?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Vincent.
Yes, the agenda is approved. We'll move on to presentations. So we'd like to welcome Etna up to the stage, please, or to the podium.
Hello,
Good evening.
I'm Travis Smith. I'm assistant principal over at Etna Elementary, and I'm here to give you some highlights about Etna. All right, there's so much, so much we're proud of at Etna. Go ahead, next slide. So we narrowed it down to 5 things that I think you guys you'll really enjoy. One is the thing I think I'm proud of is the school-wide writing focus and how it came about and how organically it came on. We're also going to talk about our Character Strong assemblies. We're going to talk about teacher-led running club with the teacher here to speak a little bit on that. We're going to talk about Early Birds intervention program that we have for both math and reading this year, and also some grant writing from one of our teachers. All right, so the first thing is our school-wide writing focus. So this is problem solving and collaboration at its best. As a staff, we're continually working on student achievement. In order for a student to achieve at the 3rd grade level, the first year of the OST experience, they must have the skills from kindergarten through 2nd grade to perform. For a teacher to know a whole child is a necessity to always know what is learned prior to the teacher having the student and then after the teacher has the student. So that's all about vertical alignment. And that's something that we took on this year is vertical alignment in some of our staff meetings. So I want to talk a little bit about that. So how it started. Well, first, we analyzed the data from our OST. We tried to find out where are some of our areas of growth, where are our areas of strength. One thing that popped out was our student writing scores. They were well below what we thought they should be at. So we went into staff meetings. We vertically aligned our kindergarten through 3rd grade all at one table, and we had a whole bunch of tables with all of them together. We reviewed the OST prompts, the responses, the rubric, the student writing scores. And then the staff came together. You can see all these Venn diagrams and all the things they're thinking about. Well, what is in common? What could we work on K through 3 to really support writing from kindergarten all the way through 3rd so we can see some improvement in these scores? So we brainstormed, and the building came up with 3 areas of focus in student writing. Okay? So the next slide will kind of talk about the implementation. For some reason, this didn't come over, but luckily, I got my 2 little helpers here. If you guys can come up. You come up here, Olivia. Blake, come on up, buddy. They'll give you guys this. They're supposed to be a little bit. Can you hand these out to our board members real quick? Can you come up? Can you go and hand them out?
Here, over here. Go hand
Can you go up there and hand those out? Thank you. As they're handing them out, I'll explain what we did. We found 3 areas of focus of learning targets that we wanted, that kindergartners could do as well as all the way up through 3rd grade. And those areas were, I will check my sentence for capitalization, punctuation, and spelling. I will restate the prompt or question in my response to writing. I will identify details and reasons to support my answers from texts. Those are the 3 things that we know that a kindergartner could do. We know 1st, 2nd, and 3rd graders could do as well. It's just the depth of knowledge is going to be at a different level. So we put posters up all throughout the building. We started to strive toward better writing. And then we joined with our PBIS team. There was another issue. There was a lack of student effort on assignments. So I said, well, how do we motivate these students to start working? Well, Everybody wants their work put up on a fridge. So what we did is we did those 3 writing focus areas. We're looking for those in any writing done in these classes. We put a refrigerator up in our cafeteria, which we called the nest, and we made it fridge worthy. So when a student writing came up and it was wonderful, the kindergartners, first grade, second, and third grade would post them up on that fridge. And so then the other students could come in and they could see the other students' work. They could read the work. They could see it and they could be so proud of themselves. The teachers saw immediate results. They started seeing things. These kids did want their work to be seen. They didn't just want the teacher to see it. They want everybody to see how good they're doing in the classroom. So, without further ado, I have 2 of our very special fridge-worthy students that are going to come over here, and they're going to read some of their writing samples. First, we have Olivia Glecko. She's a first grader in Mrs. Critchbaum's class. Okay, you want me to hold it, and you can read it? All right, you go ahead and read it.
Today I am going to teach you about penguins. First, the emperor penguin is the biggest. Next, the little blue penguin is the smallest. Last, the little blue is also called the fairy. Now you know about penguins.
Very good. Thank you so much, Olivia. Okay, you can take that back with you. All right. And now we have Blake Sapp. He's a kindergartner in Mr. Toy's class. Come right over here, buddy. You got it.
A penguin lays 1 egg at a time. Penguins hatch from an egg. Penguins eat fish and krill. They cannot fly, but they can swim. A baby penguin is a chick.
Thank you so much, Blake. Wonderful job. Thank you, Blake. Stay close. I have you guys pass out one more thing, so stay close. You sit right there, buddy. All right, awesome. So those are obviously some of our cutest performances that are on those fridges. But it's turned out really well. We're really proud of how it turned out. And we're going to continue it on all year and every year from here on out. Next, I want to talk a little bit about our Character Strong Assembly. I know other buildings come in and talk about SEL programs, and Character Strong is what we use at the elementary level. I didn't want to just talk about what the SEL is. I think you guys know all about what it is. I want to talk about a little bit about what we do once those students are selected, because it's a celebration of students. These students showed these traits. They showed empathy, they showed respect, they showed kindness. They get to come into these assemblies, and they're so excited to be selected. They get on social media. They get a certificate to take home. Then they get to go and play in some kind of fun relay race. And there's so much support, and people are just praising them, the students, the teachers. We do the little caterpillar race. We had whatever we're doing in physical education at the time is actually what we try to implement in those relay races. So we kind of tie that in. They're already working on these skills with Mr. Bates in the gym, and so let's go ahead and celebrate that in a fun relay race where you get to race either a scoreboard or something else. And that's it. And so I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. And then what happens is really funny, because I have a little girl that comes up. February is the month of honesty. And every day, 4 times a day, she tells me how honest she is, because she wants to be the next one in there. So she doesn't realize I don't choose them. The teachers select them, but that's okay. It's really cute. So, all right. So next, we're going to talk about our running club. All right. So Mrs. Critchbaum, she's actually here with us, and she's going to speak. She started the Etna Eagles Running Club with the help of Mr. Toy, Ms. Cottle, and Jeff Klein in the spring of 2024, and continued this past fall. With many new teachers as coaches and parent volunteers, it has been a complete success. We had over 150 runners at Etna, but over 300 students who wanted to participate. We are excited to start a new spring season. We have running clubs at the intermediate school and Kirkersville this spring season as well. And Ms. Critchbaum is going to come in and talk about a couple special students.
Hello, I'm Mrs. Critchbaum, and I was just so honored to be asked to come here and talk to you guys about Running Club. It is really taking off. It was just a small idea that I thought maybe I get 10 runners, and then like 200 people wanted to go. And if you work in elementary, you know that you cannot take 200 runners. So it has been quite the activity, and luckily Pataskla did it last year. This year I have the intermediate and Kirkersville joining us, and it's really been beneficial to a lot of children. So not a lot of our children in our district are able to do do extracurriculars like soccer and basketball and those type of things because those cost money. And so this is a free club, and we have definitely seen the benefits with students. And one particular student, Calvin Morris, he is a first grader at Etna, and his mom sent me this. She said, Calvin is a first grader student at Etna Elementary with selective mutism, an anxiety-based disorder which has made school exceptionally challenging for him. He can struggle with speaking to others, social skills, and his overall relationship to school, and this can impact his attendance. When he had the opportunity to join the Etna Running Club, we saw huge improvements in him. He suddenly was attending school easier and counting down the days until he could run after school with everyone. He felt included in something. He made new friends, which is something that is harder for him, and he won a lot of races, including the big race at the end of the season, bringing him home a medal with pride. Calvin had new confidence that he found nowhere else at school. Most importantly, Calvin had started building a positive relationship to school, all because of an after-school club. The running club is a brilliant place for children who can't speak well, but whose legs can do the talking. We are so lucky to have had this experience for Calvin and for him to find that he belongs at Etna, from his mom, Casey Morris. So this has just been incredibly beneficial with some of our children, just at all levels. Our EL children, our children with behavior, and this year we're announcing the new running club tomorrow. And so far I have a couple more hundred kids that are interested in it. And obviously we've got to be kind of, randomly selective with that. And then on the next slide, I have some pictures from our other running clubs in the spring at the other elementary schools. The spring running clubs from across the district. This spring, we are going to have a final race. It's going to be before our Wellness 5K, which is on May 10th. And we are going to take all of the champion runners from each of the running clubs, and they are going to do a final run, and we're going to invite the community to come and celebrate that and watch that. So there's going to be a lot of excitement, and what they're passing out to you is an invitation to that on May 10th. The time is to be announced, so we'll make sure that you guys get an email invite for that as well. So yeah, save the date, and we hope to see you there, and thank you guys so much.
All right. I can see Tan looking at me saying, pick it up, buddy. So I'm going to get going here. So next I want to quickly talk about our reading intervention program that we started. So early bird program is what we call it. Last year we had 21 students in this program. And what it is just they come in half hour, 45 minutes before school, 3 days a week for about 9 weeks up to our OST. These are students that might not have done super good on the OST in the fall, and we want to give some extra support to them. 10 students moved up to the proficiency level from that group, and we're taking students that are probably 20 points or so below that, which is phenomenal. 12 students, so those 10 plus 2 more hit the third grade reading guarantee. The average student growth, even if they didn't hit it, they grew 33 points from the fall to the spring, which is just, again, phenomenal. So on the next slide, we're doing it again. We've been doing that for multiple years. You've probably heard a little bit about it. These are some of the things that we're helping, but we're really working on building those students' confidence. You can never underestimate motivated teachers. If you watch our teachers in there, they are so motivated. The passion is contagious, and those students just buy into what they're doing, and it's so fun. Because of the success, we're now moving on to an early bird math intervention this year. So Etna's piloting it this year. We have about the same amount of students, about anywhere from 21 to 18 students that are coming in. It's 2 days a week, the other 2 days that we don't have the reading intervention. And we're doing the same things. They're doing test-taking skills. They're just working on those areas that students struggle with the most on these tests. And it's the first time. Again, third grade is the first time they see OST, so it's so important to see that stuff early and often. And the last thing, the Martha Holden Jennings Foundation is a place that gives out a lot of grants. Jake Toy, who's an Etna kindergarten teacher, spearheaded a grant writing for his kindergarten group. They got a grant for $7,700 to focus on their small group literacy stuff. So they did anything from decodables, tactile materials, and resources that being used in the centers of small groups and whole group activities. It was such a great idea that actually the foundation reached back out to Jake saying, we want to spotlight this project. So you may see it on their website. You may see something about it down the road. He's now currently working with our first graders to do the same thing at that level so we can get another grant for the next year. So a lot of cool things happening at Aetna. You have anything for me?
Does the running club know about the Relay website for shoes? It's the Relay website for shoes, for running shoes.
Oh, no.
They're discount shoes,
Oh,
and they're great shoes.
yeah. Thanks,
Yep. Yep.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Barring any more stinking eyes from Can, we'll move on to the middle school.
Good evening.
Hey there.
I'm Molly Keller, Assistant Principal at Watkins Middle School. It's always a privilege to share the incredible work happening at the middle school. And tonight I have the honor of introducing two exceptional educators who truly make a difference in our building. Our students thrive not just because of what they learn, but because of how they learn. And that's where the dedication of our staff shines. Tonight, you'll hear from Christina Mahan, one of our talented art teachers, and Amy Saltzbach, an outstanding intervention specialist. They will be sharing some of the exciting highlights from our school, stories of creativity, growth, and the impact of education beyond the classroom. We're excited to give you a glimpse into the heart of Watkins Middle School. Let's dive in.
All right, well, thank you for that introduction, man. All right, hi guys. So for tonight, we could be talking for quite some time, and Tan might kick us off the stand. But we have a lot of really great stuff to talk to you guys about with our school. So we are going to kind of be going over some highlights. So we'll be talking about our clubs. We have PBL, PBIS, our peer collabs, our culture night, and just some really great highlights with our unified arts. And we have some of our fabulous students here as well to share some information with you guys. So we'll start with clubs. Clubs are back this year, which is very exciting for our school. We have switched it up a little bit. In the past, we did it where it was built into our Friday schedule during our focus time, which was about like 30 minutes or so, which was great because the kids got to do it every Friday. But the challenge with that is you can only do so much in 25 minutes. And you know, as someone who, for example, loves Harry Potter, there's only so many activities you can do in that 25-minute spot. So this year, we're doing Fun Fridays. So once a month on a Friday, we have adjusted our schedule into a pep rally schedule. And so the kids now have about almost an hour in their club. And it's really great because they get more time to dive into their activities. We've had a lot more clubs this year as well. And then also for all of our new students who come to school, they're immediately put into a club. And so it's a really great way for them to get new connections, make new friends, and things like that. We have about 1,000 of our students signed up for clubs this year. So we did have some students who were like, I just want to study hall, but majority of the kids were really excited about it. So on the next slide, it actually shows all the different clubs we have. So we have quite a diversity. We have everything from bracelet making, which was definitely inspired by Taylor Swift, to some Dungeons and Dragons. That one was very popular. It capped out like right away. So we had a lot of kids begging to get into that. So we need some more teachers that know how to do that. We have Quiz Bowl, ASL Club. A lot of kids love coloring. Sports and outdoor games was definitely the big one. We have a video game club. So it's two different groups and they play video games against each other. And then we also have yarn making and a nature club, which on the next slide we'll show some of from that club. We have our fabulous bunnies that are at the middle school. And actually, Ms. Mahan and Mrs. Carpus are working together to use the fur from the bunnies to do some knitting and some yarn making. So on the next slide, we have some more pictures from our club. So we have Mr. Lawrence in the middle leading his Dungeons and Dragons club. I still have tried to learn to understand that, but the kids, they absolutely love it. For Halloween, him and Mrs. Deem actually dressed up like characters from that, which was really cool. The kids were super excited about it. We have some coloring club and bracelet making. And then on the next slide, we have one of our fabulous students.
All right, so I just want to introduce Sophie. She's one of my students this year, and she's also in our yarn making / nature club. And so we wanted to show you and highlight a couple things that she's done this year, and she had a couple things that she wanted to say. You ready? Okay. Ready?
Hello, my name is Sophie Foley, and I am a 6th grader at Watkins Middle School. This year, I discovered one of my passions, crocheting, through a Friday club at school. Because of this, I decided to challenge myself by making a crochet blanket using granny squares and sewing them all together. It took me over 60 hours to complete, but I loved every minute of it. I'm so grateful for the clubs and art programs at our school because they allow me to show my interest and be creative. As a thank you for all the hard work you do, I crocheted a coffee sleeve for each of you, and I hope you guys enjoy them.
So this is her blanket. She did an incredible job. She would take it home and work on it. She is just awesome.
That's cool. Nice, thank you. Oh, thank you.
That's phenomenal. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so the kids are also passing out to you guys a little goodie bag that is coffee themed because it ties into our building-wide PBL. We are doing a coffee shop project, and this is every single student in the building is doing this project during Focus 3 days a week. Essentially what they're doing is they are trying, because all the kids love coffee, as we know from porters coming to our school, all the kids are getting to create and design their own coffee and donut shop. And so what they're doing is they're working right now in their focus classes in small groups to create their initial presentation, which is a Pecha Kucha presentation, which is Pecha Kucha. Originally, it is a 20-slide presentation that's 20 seconds long, and the slides just keep going through. The kids are not doing as many. They're doing 9, but they are going to present to their class their idea of the coffee shop. And so every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, they have a certain activity that they have to do, and we have it modified so, you know, the kids in the enrichment groups are getting a little bit extra. Our kids who are in our supportive classrooms or in our resource rooms, they also are participating in this as well, so no one is being given anything that's too challenging or makes them feel left out. And what they're gonna do then is, as a class, they'll vote on which presentation they like the best, and then each class will make one presentation to our building administrators, and they will pick one class from the hallway, and then those groups will then get to present to some local businesses and earn a gift card for their prize. So it's pretty exciting. So in your bags, you also have a little bit of coffee, because everyone loves coffee, hopefully. And you also have a little donut that was painted by some of our kids in our supportive classes. And then you also have some little wafers, because in our 6th grade humanities, we're gonna be doing our Starbucks next month. And so that's like one of the little treats so the kids feel like they're at Starbucks. Next slide.
So we wanted to highlight one of our students. He actually made these at home for his group's project. And he said even if his group doesn't go on, he wants the group in our classroom, whoever does get chosen, to use that as part of their presentation. And I just think it's absolutely exceptional that kids are so excited about this that they want to go out of their way to do it. So speaking of coffee, Porter's has paid us a visit, and the students absolutely love it. It's so awesome to see our local businesses in the community and reach out to them and work with them. And this is all part of our PBIS stuff that has been awesome this year. So we've had the coffee shop, we've had the movie event, and the students absolutely love that. We've had Kona Ice, as you can see Mr. Ball up there. And we've also had our volleyball tournament that the students absolutely enjoyed and had a wonderful time at.
All right, so the next thing we're gonna talk about is our peer clubs. So that program is still up and running in our school. It's awesome. We had 62 peer clubs first semester. We have 65 this semester. And what's really neat is this year, every month, we're doing an activity during Focus for the peer clubs to hang out outside of the classroom and really work on those friendships with them. So some activities they do, we do some bracelet making, we do a snack building, some team building activities. We also had the several high school choirs come down and do a Christmas concert for the kids, which was really great. And I think the thing I love the best about it is just seeing our kids who maybe start out in 6th grade as the student that needs the peer, and then by the time they're in 7th and 8th grade, they're the ones signing up to be the peer for the other students. On the next slide, we have some more pictures of our kids hanging out and having a great time at their different activities. It's really great to see the friendships that form between them. In the top left, the shorter child, he's new this year, he's a 6th grader, and he has several 8th graders who have kind of taken him under his wing, and they'll help him like get to the bus, they'll help him find his classes. You know, if they see him in the hallway, they'll make sure they'll be like, hey, how's your day going, and check in with him. And so for a student who's brand new, having that support has been really great for him. We also have Unified PE going strong this year. Mr. Ader has taken over for Mr. Domer, and seeing the friendships there have been incredible. We have one student, he was a 7th grader last year, who definitely had some trouble and struggles a little bit. He was new. And this year, as an 8th grader, he's in Unified PE as a peer. And he has taken a lot of the younger kids under his wing, helping them, assisting them, and seeing that growth has been really great.
All right, so now we're going to look at a couple things going on, not only in the Unified Arts Department, but coming up events in the future. So we're going to start with our Culture Night and the Blacklight Art Show. So we have some invitations for you guys. I know.
You guys have a really busy calendar, so May is going to be packed.
Right? And I have some of our students that would just like to share a couple words.
Hello, my name's Ariana. Oh, sorry, I'm short. We would like to invite you to Culture Night. We're very excited to express our cultures and what we do during them.
Last year it was great, and this year is going to be even better, so I hope to see you all here this year.
Thank you. Girls? And then the next slide after that. Thank you. So last year, it was absolutely incredible. We had hundreds of people turn out last year, and that was the first year we did it. We had a lot of families bring in foods from their own cultures and share that with people, and it was all free, but it sold out so quickly because everyone was so excited to try different foods. There were so many dancing and performances, and just seeing our students get to express themselves was incredible. Did you want to say something?
Culture Night meant a lot to a lot of our students last year. The next day, by the way, I'm South Korea. I teach Spanish. And so it was like, they felt like it was a spiritual experience, is what they were saying it the next day. And it involved all of our students. And the reason I wanted to speak was because I teach 8th grade Spanish, which is Spanish 1 really, and then they go straight to Spanish 2 in high school. And part of that, I had to teach culture in my Spanish class, right? And so I taught them in December how to play dominoes, because that's what we do in Latin America a lot. And so a lot of our students has taken that in, and now they want to be part. So it's not just our kids, our ELO kids are going to be part of this, but also my Spanish classes, with 98% of them, English is their first language. And so they are excited to be able to show what they have learned in my Spanish class as part of Culture Night as well. So we are very excited that it feels like it's a whole entire school activity, not just for my ELL students, but also for our students that are not receiving ELL services, and just making that connection with their classmates. So I really hope you come out this year. It was truly a party last year. It really was. And the food was delicious, and we're gonna have some dancing. Come ready to dance with us, and live music, singing. They're gonna be playing salsa and merengue, so you're all welcome to take some classes with us.
Thank you. So along with that, last year we also had our own Blacklight Art Show during Culture Night. So it was really amazing to see our students get to see a lot of their artwork in an immersive experience that is unlike anything we've ever done before. So we had a lot of students make 3D art and 2D art, and it was all, you go in, you can get your face painted with blacklight paint and be a part of it as well. So that was an amazing thing, and we're hoping to add to that as well this year. So a couple other things I wanted to highlight in the Unified Arts Department, because we've done an incredible job this year just expanding and growing. So our music department, this week actually, the middle and high school bands are collaborating and going to see the 5th graders for the first time since pre-COVID to recruit some of the 5th graders into the band program. So that is really awesome that they're doing that this year. So I could talk for an hour about our environmental sustainability and our ag program because they have done wonders in our building. Two of the things I really want to highlight is they've donated over 100 pounds of produce back to the cafeteria this year. Absolutely incredible to see our students eating food that they grew. Like, that is so cool for them to see. And they realize it too, and they appreciate it so much. Another thing to go along with that, our composting program, 1,200 pounds of compost that would have just gone into the landfill are being recycled and used in the garden, and it is such an incredible thing that our school gets to do. So here's a couple pictures from Miss Miller's class. As you can see, lots of animals. The kids are really engaged. The recycling program, going out into the forest, and all the things. Hear wonderful things about it. And then, of course, our ag program, all of our indoor growing and our hydroponics, and the students with the food that they grew and they were super excited about. And in the art department, we're exploring with a lot of new mediums this year as well. So also, we have some plants that were grown for you by our ag department, so they wanted to donate those for you as well. So in our art department, we are exploring with a bunch of new mediums this year, and as you can tell, our crocheting and all of our fiber arts have taken off incredibly this year. So lots of weaving. We had a student who, we had a bunch of fabric donated, and she wanted to make blankets for charity, so we got to donate some of her blankets to charity. And also, disco balls are taking over our entire school. We have over 200 hung up right now, and I'm hanging up more throughout the week. And it's been awesome to see our students get to express themselves.
All right, and the last amazing thing going on right now is our robotics program. So for the first time, we have 3 teams going to states, which is super excited. Our kids, I know, love being on robotics and really, really enjoy it. So it's great to kind of end on that last positive note for you guys. So if you have any questions, let us know.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Were these grown just like from the seeds?
Yep, they grew them.
That's
Thank you very much.
phenomenal. The coffee shop thing was very cool. If the winner would like to ever come present to the board, they're more than welcome to come present to us. Unfortunately, we can't give any contracts to open coffee shops, but
I mean, I've seen some of their creations they're making right now, so you might want to hold off on
we
trying some of them.
we would
They enjoy coffee. It's more like sugar.
we'd love to see them. And Culture Night, fantastic. Gracias por la información. As a former Spanish teacher, I totally appreciate that. So, gracias por todos. Está bien. Podemos hablar. Todo está bien. All right. Gracias. All right. Thanks, guys. This was fun.
Thank you.
All right, so moving on in the agenda, we have request to speak Teamsters Local 413. Seeing no takers, I'll extend the offer to Southwest Licking Education Association.
Good evening. My name is Paula Ball, and I am proud to serve as president of the Southwest Licking Education Association, known as SWL. I appreciate the opportunity to address you tonight on behalf of our dedicated educators. I am here to announce SWL's wholehearted endorsement of the bond issue on the May ballot, which will provide 3 critical expansions for our district. In addition to the high school, a new building for grades 5 and 6, that will free up space at the current middle school and in our elementary buildings, and a collaborative facility known as Spirit in partnership with the YMCA. We've laid the foundation for success, but our work is not finished. This bond issue is not a wish list. It is the next vital step in completing what we started when we passed the building bond issue in 2017. When our district built the new high school and intermediate building and renovated our existing facilities, we were partially state funded and only given funding to build spaces for what the state projected is needed. The district knew our need was greater than estimated, but the state would not be persuaded. Understanding that expansion would be necessary, the district strategically planned ahead using local funds for the high school to construct essential common areas prepared for our future enrollment needs, including our hallways, gyms, our amazing theater, and the cafeteria, as well as critical infrastructure such as utilities and heating and cooling systems. Even the foundation for the high school addition is already in place. Because of this foresight, we can now build upon that solid groundwork and increase capacity at a much lower cost, saving taxpayers millions. We've seen what happens when our buildings fall behind our students. Before the last round of construction, students and educators worked in conditions unworthy of their potential. Leaky roofs, outdated heating and cooling systems, inadequate electrical setups, and science and technology needs that our old buildings simply could not handle. Cramped spaces turned into classrooms, classes in basements, portable classrooms, and storage rooms, and buckets kept nearby to catch water whenever it rained or snowed. But when we built, everything changed. Students now have modern, tech-ready spaces and the educational environments they deserve. Unfortunately, the cracks of overcrowding are already showing again. Watkins Intermediate School was designed to provide unique, flexible spaces for children, for students to collaborate, but now these spaces are converted into makeshift classrooms just to keep up with enrollment. At the middle school, teachers and students struggle to move around each other in cramped classrooms. At the high school, we are adding exciting new classes next year, teaching students construction, electrical, HVAC, and plumbing skills, but they come at the expense of losing workspaces for our art programs, environmental classes, because we simply don't have enough space. Meanwhile, many juniors and seniors attend school for only a small part of the day to reduce congestion for the building. Overcrowding doesn't slow down, so neither can we. We cannot allow our schools to slip back into an environment where students are crammed into unintended spaces for classes, or where vital programs or opportunities vanish due to lack of space. We must finish what we started in 2017. Our children's education should not be compromised by overcrowding. Many of us who serve as educators also live here as community members, myself included. We understand that an additional bond issue is a sacrifice, especially in challenging economic times. But this is not a luxury. It is a necessity for our community's future. As the district grows, so does the tax base. While the current households will fund the entire cost of the bond to start, as new families move into our district, they will share the cost of the bond, reducing the burden for our current residents. However, the longer we wait to build, the higher costs will climb. Construction costs, labor, and materials are not getting cheaper, and our communities only continue to grow. Investing in our schools today is the smartest financial decision for our future. We have come too far to stop now. The foundation is in place, the framework is set. Now we must follow through and complete the job. We did not build half of a bridge. We need to finish crossing it. A growing district should never mean shrinking opportunities for students. Every square foot we build is another space for students to innovate, collaborate, and succeed. On behalf of the Southwest Licking Education Association, I urge the community to join us in supporting this bond issue. By completing what we began in 2017, we will provide a high school addition, a new 5-6 building, relieve pressure on our middle and elementary schools, and gain the innovative Spear facility. These projects aren't just construction. They are investments in our students and their futures. Let's come together and take this step forward, because when we invest in our schools, we invest in our future. Say yes by voting for the bond issue in May to complete what we started and ensure our students and their teachers have the space and resources they need to thrive. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ball. All right.
moving on into the agenda, we have approval of minutes. Anyone like to move those?
Motion approval for A and B.
Second?
Mr. Jones?
Mrs. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Engel?
Yes.
Mr. Rosani?
Yes.
Mr. Golly, I messed up. Mr. Vincent?
Yes.
Call Mrs. Spindler.
Those minutes are approved. We'll move on to the financial report.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Jones?
Included on the agenda is the executive summary for January 31st. It was a fairly routine month. We did receive our third income tax settlement, and it was about 6% higher than we expected, which is good. So year-to-date, our income tax is within 1% of where we anticipate being, so we're right on track where we anticipate being. So year-to-date, our revenue is 2% higher than we budgeted, and our expenditures are 3% lower. So we are doing very well.
Okay.
Be glad to answer any specific questions you may have.
Mr. Jones, call the roll.
Mrs. Engel?
Yes.
Mrs. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Ziny?
Yes.
Mr. Vincent?
Yes, that report is approved. We'll move on to the personnel consent calendar under letter or number 6. I think we can take all of them.
Motion to approve 6A through M.
Second.
Discussion. Dr. Perkins, did you want to?
So just a couple of things I wanted to point out for personnel. So Mr. Hammond, longtime employee of the district, current assistant principal, teacher for longtime middle school, he is retiring. Obviously, we'll recognize all our retirements here in the spring and or beginning of June, but I just wanted to share that because he's been part of our school community for a long time. And then not on the actual agenda, but just a note in talking about personnel, it's just a transfer administrative-wise, so it doesn't go on there. But Chelsea Cahill will be taking the position of the K through 5 coordinator from assistant principal. So just wanted to add that in as well. And that's it.
Okay. Any other questions, discussion? Mr. Jones, call the roll.
Mrs. Engel?
Yes.
Mrs. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Ziny?
Yes.
Mr. Vincent?
Yes, that is approved. We'll move on to personnel number 7.
Motion approval 7A through C.
Second. Mr. Jones?
Mrs. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Vincent?
Yes.
Mrs. Engel?
Abstain?
Mr. Ziny?
Yes.
Okay, that is approved as well. We'll move on to business items. We can take some of these separate and some of these,
Can we motion 8A through G? Or 8A through H, I apologize.
okay, I think that's fine. I'm cool with that. Second. Okay, we have a first and a second for A through H. Any discussion?
This is 100% wording, and I should have mentioned this to you earlier. On the school buses, for the 78 passenger bus, will you just make that an accessible bus?
Okay.
Do you want to, after that, Rick, do you want to start at the top?
Yes, good. So
Thank
the first
you.
thing is the resolutions, amounts, and rates is set by the county budget commission. We really don't have any say. It's a routine, everything. We can reduce rates if we want to, but we can't obviously raise them. So the second thing, it will need a special meeting, hopefully on the 27th, to approve construction contracts and also maybe to establish a board committee for one thing, we possibly policy. So I guess we need to know if it's good on the 27th, and if so, what time.
I can always be here by 5:30, 5:15.
You want to do 5:30?
Yeah, I can do 5:15 or 5:30.
What's everybody want?
I could probably do 5:15 if I had to.
Let's go, can we do 5:30?
Just to
Sure.
keep it easier.
Yeah, we don't want to push it.
Okay.
Roger, can you 5:30 on the 27th?
Okay, so board meeting, 5:30, this room on the 27th.
Yes.
All right.
And then we need to move the 19th board meeting because it falls on a holiday. The two options I threw out there were the 12th and 26th. I mean, I prefer 26th just because it helps me, gives me more time for budgeting, but it's not a big deal. If it's the 12th, it's the 12th, but those are the prior to and following Thursdays.
Okay, give me a second to get there on my
Sure.
calendar. I would probably prefer the 12th just for, or even earlier that week, if not, because I remember I expressed some concern about the no, that was the wrong month, anyway. I'm confusing myself now, we're good. We're talking about the June one, not
Correct,
July.
yes, June.
Sorry.
The June one.
Yeah, June, doesn't matter.
I can do the 26th.
Me too.
Okay. Can you
Roger,
do
can you do 26?
Yeah, I can do the 26th.
Okay. 26 at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
And then the next one is the July board meeting. We need to move it. We're asking to move it. A couple conflicts, so we're asking to move to July 10th. That's kind of the deadline for people to get out, teachers to get out of contracts. So we thought we'd move it to that day at 6 o'clock if that works for everybody. Does that work for you, Roger?
What's that?
July 10th at 6?
I think so.
Okay.
We're moving the July meeting from the 19th to the 6th, 17th to the 6th, I'm sorry.
All right.
You'll send these all
17th
out.
to the 10th. Sorry, my
Rick,
goodness.
you'll send these out, correct?
17th to the
Yeah,
10th.
you'll send that out in an email.
Oh, yeah, all these have to go out meeting notices, yes.
Okay, and then still at 6 o'clock.
Still at 6,
And it'll
yes.
be the regular meeting, not a special meeting.
It would be a special meeting.
It's
It would be a special
because we're
meeting.
moving it, it's a
Because we're
special
moving
meeting.
it.
Yep.
Got it, okay.
School buses, change of title. I have actually went ahead and issued the purchase order because there's a $2,000 rebate if we gave them PO by February 15th per bus. So, you know, it's, couldn't, so I'm asking you to kind of ratify that date for the purchase order. And, you know, we are moving to 78 passenger buses. This is requests from Mr. Brown, logistic director there at the bus garage, to go with a little bigger buses, to get more students on, and also the accessible bus also.
I'm happy we're finally going up. I've been wanting that for years. Now, if we could get to 84, we'll be all right. But we'll go in increments. I'm okay with that. All right.
Then we have an overnight robotics trip. They're headed to the high school. Robotics is headed to the regional competition. They will miss one day of school, but that's a pretty incredible opportunity. Our annual membership through Ohio High School. Then we have on here, it's listed as an MOU. It's actually an MOU with omissions and corrections, just some things that got missed on the final document for negotiations. Nothing earth-shattering. A few different coaches that were placed on the wrong. We missed giving the teachers their reimbursement for half of their licensure. And then when STRS changed the retirement, unfortunately the contract is listed as the old. So now they'll be able to receive their incentive if they choose to retire at the year, and if STRS changes anything mid-year for the duration of the contract. So just a few tweaks in there that we worked together on to bring to the board. Any questions on that piece before we keep going?
I just have a question on Ohio High School Athletic Association.
Oh, I'm sorry,
I
yeah,
probably should
go
have asked that earlier in the week. Do we know how often they look at where we are, Division I, Division II?
Annually.
So
numbers are submitted annually.
Okay. And do we know when annually?
I don't. I'd have to ask. But I can find out for you, but I don't know off the top of my head.
Perfect.
Okay. Any other questions on those two things? All right, Rick, do you want to do I?
Well,
We aren't
that's
quite at
not
I
part
yet.
of it. That's
Oh,
not
we haven't
part
done
of
I
this
yet.
no.
Just kidding. Don't do I yet, Rick.
All right. Any questions pertaining for A through H? Mr. Jones, call the roll, please.
Mrs. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Ziny,
Yes.
Mrs. Engel,
Yes.
Mr. Vincent.
Yes, all of those pass. We will move on. 8I, and then I think we'll do 8J separately as well.
Motion 8I.
Second.
So this is a settlement agreement with a gentleman, or called Open Government Advocates, that goes around, looks at different things in schools, minutes, so forth. He's suing 4 schools in Lincoln County right now. He's been to the Supreme Court a couple times, Columbus City Schools and stuff. So this is kind of what his job is to go out and nitpick stuff, So in order to save money, because we don't believe the allegations are accurate whatsoever, but again, it'll take a lot of money to fight it, and it's not really worth it. Part of the reason for the settlement is we eliminate all of our advisory committees, so it wasn't worth the hassle. And that's why we're going to establish a board policy committee at special meeting to make sure we follow in accordance with actually a board committee, because the other ones were not board committees and they were not subject to the stuff that Mr. Ames indicated, but it's not worth fighting either. So asking the board to approve this settlement. School should be making a $500 payment to Mr. Ames, and then insurance we paying $5,000 to him.
And just to reiterate, Rick said, I know he said it, but just to point it out in the very first part, or I guess the second little paragraph, it clearly states that we have acted in accordance with law, and we deny all fault or liability for any damage, because it is our legal's opinion as well as ours that we did not do anything wrong.
Thank you for pointing that out. I was going to bring that up as well, as it stated very clearly there as I read through that.
Yes.
Such an unfortunate waste of money that should be going for $5,500 to kids instead
Right.
of crap.
Special interest.
Yeah.
Well, it is as it is, so.
Yep.
All right, any other questions or comments? Okay, Mr. Jones.
Mrs. Moore,
No.
Mrs. Engel,
Yes.
Mr. Ziny,
Yes.
Mr. Vincent.
Yes, that is approved. We'll move on to 8J.
Motion approval 8J.
Second.
So obviously, everyone knows that the Ed Choice voucher system is a hot topic right now in education, and public schools are under scrutiny with the amount of funding we're losing from the vouchers being shifted to the private sector. So this particular resolution is for a school district to join part of the Ohio Coalition for Equity and Adequacy of School Funding, who's advocating on behalf of the school districts to change how the current voucher system functions. So this resolution is for you to support that and find that the voucher program is harmful to our school district, which in fact it is, because it takes money from our students away and goes to the private sector. And so by authorizing this, we would be joining the Ohio Coalition, and then you would be also giving them permission. We would pay them for the funding. You pay $2 a student per pupil, and that goes to the work they do on our behalf. It outlines in there in Section 3 what exactly the money breakdown is. So, we're facing, there's a lot going on if you're reading the news. So, personally, I'm extremely, as a leader of public education, I'm extremely passionate about this, and I feel like that, it's our due diligence to join this coalition and to have them help, advocate on our behalfs. So.
I 100% agree. And with what we saw here today, with not only our kids, but the support of our staff and our teachers, it's just exceptional. And to think that it's slowly being pulled away from us, this is long overdue.
I 100% agree. I think there is a place for parents to make choices. However, not at the expense, and not to places that are not held to the same set of standards. And also, public education is a service to the public. It creates better communities, and we must fight back on this.
I agree with everything that was just said there, and I agree with Section 1. The problem that I have, though, is the money that goes with the $2 a head, and I expressed that to you when I saw this originally, especially, after seeing what DeWine has proposed. I was reading about that today, and the loss that this and hundreds of other districts are going to potentially get with this next budget is just unbelievable, truly. Especially when you look at our growth. So while that is very troublesome to me and burdensome to me, I I can't get behind the $2 a head for the lobbying piece. I think, I do agree that collectively we do need to come together, and we do need to talk to the state, and we do need to let them know that. And I also am not naive enough to know that money doesn't speak. I get all that. I just can't get to the point where I can vote to give out that much money for lobbying or whatnot. But I understand the piece, and I totally agree with the logic behind it, but that's just kind of where I am, and that's where my vote will be tonight. Are there any other questions or comments? Okay, Mr. Jones.
Mrs. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Engel?
Yes.
Mr. Zani?
Yes.
Mr. Vincent?
No. That passes. We will then move on to agreements and contracts. I don't know, can we take them all together?
Yeah, we can if you
Okay.
want.
Motion to approve 9A through E.
Second.
Okay.
First one is called ClearGov. They're basically it's an online budgeting program. They do it throughout the country for basically any governmental entity. So we're trying to look at right now, we do everything spreadsheets and everything by email. So we're trying out this for really just a year and a half to see how it works for us, see if it helps make things more efficient. In the end, I got to see efficiency savings, in order to decide to move farther with it. But definitely, I think it's a good thing to try. And Stacey Johnson and I are working with them to try to get everything set up, and I think it'll be a good thing. We just got to get it set up first. So I'm asking the board to approve that. Second thing is our internet access through LACA, email and so forth. Our contract is up June 30th. This is a new contract. It's through E-Rate. We bid it out, and LACA was selected. It's $85,000 a year. E-Rate will pay 60% of that. So it's not that much cost to us, but again, we have to follow this process. Okay. Dan, want to talk about this one or news story?
C and E I'll talk about.
Okay.
Both students that come back to the district who are already outside placed. So basically, one of them staying in the same placement. The district just is now financially liable for those costs. The other one is back into the district in a different placement. So there's two outside contracts.
I've never heard of News Story. Where's that at?
So News Story has actually taken over a lot of the smaller outside placements.
Okay.
So their main building, they have one in Lancaster and then one off the Sawmill Road exit.
Okay.
The old Sun TV building.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yep.
I had
They
no
bought out
idea.
a lot of the learning spectrums, and there's like 40, they're charged like 40.
Okay.
And Gandy, it's an agreement to have them come in, just look at Task Elementary, to look for any lead paint. I don't anticipate we'll find any. It was just renovated in 2000, but out of abundance, we wanted to get it checked out to make sure there's no issue with lead paint in that building, which I don't think it will be, but it's better to be safe than sorry.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody? Okay, Mr. Jones.
Mrs. Engel,
Yes.
Mrs. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Zini,
Yes.
Mr. Vincent.
Yes, all of those pass. We will move on to the treasurer items, donations, and statements of purpose.
Motion to approve 10A and B. A with thanks.
Second.
Again, donations, we always appreciate those. And then again, we have additional statements of purpose that came in. Just ask the board to approve both of these, fairly routine.
Awesome.
Just want to say a special shout out to Mr. Toy on that.
Yeah, for
fabulous
real.
grant.
Yes.
That's pretty amazing.
Yes.
Great job.
Okay, Mr. Jones.
Mrs. Engel,
Yes.
Mrs. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Zini,
Yes.
Mr. Vincent.
Yes, those are all approved. We'll move on to superintendent comments.
Okay, a couple of things to share. First thing is a student spotlight. So we have another amazing high school student, Mara Malin, who is a finalist for the National Merit. She scores, I'll just read you what the write-up is that'll be posted tomorrow, I'm guessing, on Facebook. Her scores on the PSAT along with her outstanding academic record, essay have positioned her among the top 15,000 seniors in the country. Wow. And she'll continue to compete for a coveted National Merit Scholarship this spring. Wow. So another fabulous student to highlight. So that's super exciting. And then I wanted to share one more thing, and then I'll have some things for the slide too. I'm sure a lot of people have seen online, but I just wanted to make sure that the board was aware. Through our potential partnership with the YMCA and the Sphere, we are going to have 3 fantastic opportunities for our kids during the school day at that facility if the bond was to pass. That would be first graders, all first graders would receive safety around water. So it's where you actually learn not to drown. It's not learning to swim, it's learning not to drown. And then our second graders would all take swim lessons. And these are partnerships that the other YMCAs have done with schools during the day. They've had a lot of experience with bringing kids in, during their specials times to have these. And then we will also have opportunities to be offering adaptive aquatics for our students with disabilities, and that will be something we'll be able to do on a regular basis as well. So I am super grateful for the opportunity the Y has given us to work with it and what they're able to offer as part of our curriculum on a weekly basis for all students in the district. So I wanted to share that in case you hadn't seen that. You want to pull up my first one, Jeff, please? Also, want to give a highlight for this. This is coming out soon. It's almost finalized. These are all of the amazing camps going on this summer in this district. And you'll notice a couple new ones, and I'm going to point one out, highlight in a second, but we have an additional musical camp this summer. That is new. We have not had that before, and they will actually be having a performance, and it's going to be for 6th through 9th graders. So I love that it's offering an opportunity for some of our older kids we haven't done before. And then you'll also notice, and you want to pull up my next one, Jeff, that'd be fine. We are going to have the first Licking County Safety Town. Now, one may tell you that Granville has a safety town, but their safety town through the city and the Parks and Rec is one that's movable. Ours will be permanent structures. They'll be behind Pataskala Elementary. They will be modeled after our downtown Pataskala businesses. So it'll be something that will be permanently there, and we'll be able to start offering bike safety and bus safety, railroad, well, you can see all the things on there, 911 etiquette. So we'll be offering our first camp, both AM and PM this summer, to incoming and exiting kindergarten students. And you'll start to notice, or if you peek around there in the coming weeks and months, you'll start to see that area changing a little bit as we begin to pave it and have the buildings built. We are fortunate to be able to fund this through a grant. The grant focuses on wellness and a well-rounded child, as well as safety for students. So we'll be able to build our buildings and get the stoplights and all the bicycles through that as well. So we're very, very excited for the school community to be bringing this for our families, and that will go out soon as well to kind of share that news.
How many kids will that be able to
So we'll be
support?
able, we're gonna shoot for the first year 60 AM and 60
Okay.
PM. And we'll see how that goes. And then here's one I actually had these for you. I didn't pass around. I'll send them down now if you want them. And then finally is the compass. So obviously each month I like to update you on developments coming in the district, growth, just things happening that I feel like are good to put out there for our community. And so at the top part is the Cumberland Estates. And,
No, you're fine.
and you'll see, I'll keep that at the top right now, Jeff, will you? Thank you. So the Cumberland Estates is another new development that's coming in. It is part of Etna Township, 57-acre, 112 single-family homes. There is the site plan, as you see at the top. That development is located in the quadrant of 310 and Refugee Road, kind of north of the current Cumberland Trails. So that's going to make some, I learned at the chamber this week that Liberty Christian's also adding on to their building. So that's going to make for some interesting traffic over there on Refugee and 310. So between this housing complex and our other ones. And then if you want to scroll up to the bottom, the solar farm, we talked about this a long time ago. I can't even think of how many years it's been. I'm not sure if Rick recalls, but I would, quite a few, maybe 3 years, 4.
Yeah.
But the solar farm, Rick and I met a few weeks ago with the new company that has bought out the project, and they will be breaking ground in the next coming weeks in February, they said. So that project is north of Refugee and Watkins, right on Watkins, and that solar farm will be great for environmental sustainability, but also will produce revenue. It's a 2-year out thing, so once it comes to completion, which they say should happen in 2025, then the school district would see revenue from that project in 2027. So we're very excited that that has finally come to fruition, and they'll be breaking ground. So if you're on Watkins Road, you'll be able to see that. And it is not houses if you see dirt being moved. And then finally, just something I added on here that I just think is really amazing for all our kids is district-wide by the start of the upcoming school year. All our buildings will be renovated or new construction, and more importantly, all our playgrounds will be designed with inclusive features for all kids, including the fact that our Pataskal Elementary, that will be bridges, will have the safety town where the students will be able, all students will be able to play and participate as well during the day. So we're really excited and something to be very proud about. And that is all I have tonight, unless you have questions for me.
Good. Okay. Any other questions, comments for the good of the meeting or the board? We good? Okay, it is closing time. Someone like to motion?
Motion adjourned.
I will. Candy will second that, and Mr. Jones will allow us all to vote on that.
Sure. Mrs. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Engel?
Yes.
Mr. Zani?
Yes.
Mr. Vincent?
Yes, we are adjourned at 7:05. Thank you.